right? You guys like it when I talk about the process of, I thought it would be cool to babble on about the process of the 2 months when me and wife start SkySource. Because my past videos, I always babble on about the same things, since I thought it'd be cool to babble on about something different today. And I hope you guys are enjoying this video, obviously, right? That's why my wife's so proud. It's because of me. You get to live this amazing life. We get to what? We get to live the fucking dream life, man. Obviously. So once I put out the ads for the dog team, again, there's a good chance the people who worked on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, there's a good chance I'm going to hire those cameramen to work for my company to do me and wife's documentaries. All my movies, I want to have documentaries for all my movies. And so the doc team will be resigned too. I'm going to resign all the doc team, and all the cameramen all get a nice $12,000 raise for the documentary, which is nice, obviously. So organization movie, the cameraman will get $362,000 for the 2.5 years, whatever it is, which is nice. Right. So I'll put out the ads for the cameraman, the doc team. So the editor and the cameraman, I'll put out the ads for them. I only want cameramen who work in Hollywood. I'm putting out ads for the 7 team. I only want the members of the 7 team who worked for one of the big 5 companies. Told you the 2 script developers, there's a good chance Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Ryan Johnson, you know what I'm saying? You also have J.J. Abrams. Those are good candidates to work as my full-time script developers, as well as my co-executive producers. So if J.J. Abrams or Ryan Johnson were hired, they would be what? I would make them second in command, and they would be my co-executive producers for all my movies. I'm going to pay Ryan Johnson a nice $10 million bonus. Worst comes to worst, if Hollywood offers him more money, I can up it to like $12 million and pay him a $12 million bonus for all my movies. And J.J. Abrams, because he's very, very big, I'm willing to pay him a nice $25 million bonus, which is nice, obviously. And $12 million bonus, and pay him his what? His $4 million yearly salary, whatever it is, which is nice, obviously, right? Pay them all their yearly salary, obviously. And Jon Favreau, I'm going to pay him $18 million. But if Hollywood ends up offering him a lot of money, I'll pay him. I can up it to $19-20 million. Dave Filoni, I can up it to $8 million for the bonus. So there's other good candidates out there too, but like those are like my top 4 candidates, obviously. Especially Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are my 2 top candidates, obviously. Obviously, right? I can easily hire Peter Jackson to work full time for my company. The problem is Peter Jackson is too expensive. Peter Jackson will cost me like $40 million. It will cost me like $40 million plus. You can easily hire other people to be full time writers for your company, but they're just going to cost you way more money. Obviously, Peter Jackson's too big. I'm willing to hire him as a director if I choose to hire a director, but I'm only going to hire him for that movie, and that's it. After that, I'm going to hire other directors. Right, so my 7 team, I want the members to be people who worked in Hollywood, obviously, the big 5 companies. So you to qualify for this as members of the 7 team, you have to work for Disney, Warner Bros., Paramount, Universal, and Fox. You have to work for one of those 5 companies to qualify. That way, it makes it easier for me and my wife. That way, me and my wife don't have to look as much resumes. Because if I know that if I say 7 team who worked in Hollywood, in television, lines here, me and my wife are going to look at a couple thousand resumes, just too much. But to narrow it down, the members of 7 team have to work for one of the big 5 companies. So you have to be a secretary who worked. The 2 secretaries have to have worked for one of the big 5 companies. The accountant, head of production, legal advisor, script developers, they have to work for one of those 5 companies. Now, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni qualify because they worked for Lucasfilm. They worked for Disney, obviously. And so they obviously qualify because they work for one of the big 5 companies, obviously. Right? And then the web designer, he has to work for one of the big 5 companies too. So a web designer who designed websites for one of the big 5 companies, they're more than welcome to apply for the web designer position. The graphic designers have to be people who work for one of the big 5 companies, who edited pictures for the movie posters for one of the big 5 companies. So all those big budget movies, a graphic designer who edited those pictures, they're more than welcome to apply for my SkySource company. And the photographers, the 3 photographers, man or woman, they have to have worked for one of the top magazine companies. So the photographers who took pictures for Kendall Jenner's Vogue magazine, those photographers are more than welcome to apply to my company, obviously. As Kendall Jenner is considered, I believe, like one of the top models in the world. So the photographers who took pictures for Kendall Jenner's Vogue magazine, they're more than welcome to apply to what? To my Skysource company. That's where my company will be something top notch. And once that's all taken care of, the 2 months are up, and George Lucas is staying in his hotel. He got his $3,000 bonus. Me and my wife will send George Lucas back home. We can fly back home, and George Lucas will be joining us again when we start the process first year. When we're hard at work in the office during the first year of pre-production for Lasso of Zan's movie, George Lucas will be consulting. Pay him a good $350,000. The guy doesn't need the money, but because pay him something that way he's motivated, he'll just be consulting for business and some creative stuff. Right? He'll be consulting. So you pay him a nice $350,000, that way he's motivated to consult. Because consulting is slack work. So for doing a little bit of consulting, you pay him his $3,000. He'll be saved. His hotel and feeding is taken care of for the 4 years. But he has to pay for his own flights when he flies out to Vancouver. I'm not paying for his flights, obviously. So once the 2 months are over and George Lucas helped us with the process of starting Skysource, our $100 million rooftop condo is now in the process of getting moved. We hired our architects. We found a rooftop where we can build our condo. The condo is now, the construction company is hired. The $100 million rooftop condo is now getting built. Me and my wife bought our jet. We bought our yacht. We registered for our business account. We registered for our cards. Our documentation is all taken care of. The building for the special effects team is getting built. The building for our 7 team is now for me and my wife's 7. The office building for me and my wife and the 7 team is now getting built. George Lucas is now sent home. We put our ads for our 7 team, doc team, web designer, graphic designer, and photographers, and we design our logo. Now George Lucas is sent home. Me and my wife now take our 1 year vacation off. So while the root.com is getting built and the office is getting built, the building for the special effects team is getting built, me and my wife can now go on our 1 year vacation, obviously. A good, year. Yeah, gonna go on our 1 year vacation. So what me and my wife do, we can go to a country, stay there for 2 weeks, come back to Vancouver, see the updated process of our condo getting built as well as the office. So we'll constantly keep tabs on the progress of the building getting built for the special effects team, our luxury office for our Skysource Entertainment Company, as well as our $100 million condo. We constantly keep update progress of the building, and then we take another vacation for another 2 weeks, and then we come back. That's what I want it to be like for me and my wife. We visit a country for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We come back to Vancouver. We see the updated progress of our $100 million getting built, as well as the building for our office, for our special effects team, as well as the office for me, my wife, and the 7 team. We're gonna constantly be getting updates, progress updates. We go on our vacation. We constantly come back to Vancouver. That's how it's gonna work. Obviously, and then once the $100 million condo is built, me and my wife can, for the remaining, 2 months, the remaining 2 months left over, after we took our 1 year vacation, we took our 1 year vacation off, we traveled the world, have fun for a good year. The reason why I want to take a year off, because I know once we start the process of Lasso of Zanus, me and my wife are going to be hard at work in the office. We're going to be hard at work in the office we're going to be hard at work for 4 years. Blood, sweat, and tears. Hence why I want to take a nice year off and enjoy myself, because I know making a movie is blood, sweat, and tears. Writing a script is blood, sweat, and tears. Doing the concept arts, that's all blood, sweat, and tears. Acting for 9 months is blood, sweat, and tears. Hence why I want to take a nice year off before I start Skysource. And me and my wife can travel to a good, give me a sec here. My stepmother wants a charger. Charger. Sorry about that. My stepmother wanted the charger for the phone. Obviously, right. Yeah, so the reason why I want to take a year off before I start Skysource, because I know when me and my wife are hard at work in the office, there's no looking back. Me and my wife are going to be hard at work for 4.5 years, which is blood, sweat, and tears. I know filming a movie for 9 months is blood, sweat, and tears. Hence why I want to take a nice year off with my wife. I'll travel to a good I'll tell VJ, look, let's pick a good like. Me and my wife will probably travel to in 1 year. Me and my wife can travel to a good like 6 to 8 countries. Stay in each country for a good 3 weeks, and after 3 weeks, we come back to Vancouver. We see the progress of our 100 million condo. We see the I want to get updated progress of how where for the building of the condo, obviously, as well as the office. Me and my wife and 17, as well as the office for the special effects team, obviously. I want to take that year off. That when me and my wife can enjoy ourselves, go to clubs. You know what I'm saying? Go unlimited bucket list, unlimited bucket list. Obviously, travel to these countries. I personally want to travel to Switzerland, Dubai. I want to go to Dubai, and I want to go to Japan. Those are my 3 locations. I want to go to Switzerland because that's where I'm filming Zanus. I want to go to Dubai because I heard Dubai is a top high end country, obviously top high end city, whatever it is. And I also want to go to what? To Japan. I want to see Tokyo, Japan for myself, obviously. Those are my three top countries. And then VJ has her own 3 locations that she wants to visit too. So we visit those countries, we stay there for a good 3 weeks. And there's a good chance me and my wife will visit a good 8 countries in a year. We can go visit a country for 3 weeks. We come to Vancouver, we stay in Vancouver for a good week at a nice luxury hotel, and then we go back to what? This is all pocket change, and we travel to another country, and then we come back to Vancouver, obviously. And we'll be flying privately because me and my wife are gonna buy our jet within those 2 months. Me and my wife can buy our jet, we can buy our nice yacht. I also want to do a thing where we chill on the yacht. We do sleepovers in the yacht in Vancouver. When we're in Vancouver, we do a few sleepovers in the yacht. We go out in the ocean. We do like sleepovers and all that stuff. That's pretty cool. Get drunk, listen to music. You know what I'm saying? You can even watch movies in the yacht if you want to. Unlimited bucket list, my wife are gonna have, obviously. Obviously, right? That's why I want to take that year off because I know once we start the process of Zanies, it's blood, sweat, and tears, man. The real blood, sweat, and tears is production when we film for the 9 months. That's blood, sweat, and tears. And writing the script. Whereas everything else is pretty slack for me and my wife because we're not going to make that much business calls. We're only going to make a few major calls for the business. What I'll do is we're only going to make a few major business calls for the business, obviously. Like the only business calls me and my wife are going to make when we start the process the first year of Zanus will be what? Will be the So me and my wife will obviously negotiate the deal with Amazon, which is Slack. They fly out to my office. Me and my wife sign the contracts for our money for the movie, obviously. So the actors sign their contracts for the movie. Me and my wife are signing our own contracts for our movie, obviously. We get 60% of the profits. Amazon gets 40% of the profits. That's the deal, because Amazon will be our distributor, our sole distributor. Me and my wife are gonna have to make the calls to Birch Dock Resort for the luxury hotel party event, as well as the red carpet event. We're gonna have to make the calls to Birch Dock Resort, give them a nice $10 million. My deal is $10 million. I'm not going any higher. I'm not going any higher than that. $10 million for 2 days is fucking me being very fucking generous. As realistically speaking, I should be paying them like 5 million, 5-6 million, but I'm willing to pay them 10 million. The owner's 10 million, which is a lot of money. I want to rent your whole hotel for 2 days. Have a luxury hotel party event there. Hire DJs, a luxury buffet. And I also want to host the Last of Us Zane's red carpet event there. And I'll give you a good $10 million for that, which is a good fucking deal, obviously. I'm not going any higher than that as I'm being very fucking generous. Me and my wife made the calls for that, obviously. We'll make the calls for the so the hotel party, the red carpet, the IMAX cameras. Me and my wife can make the calls for the cameras, obviously, the IMAX cameras. Obviously. I don't want digital IMAX cameras. I want film, as I don't want to film my movie in digital. I want Zane's to be filmed in film. That way you get the natural look. Me and my wife made the calls for the IMAX cameras. The kitchen equipment, we can make the calls for that. At least kitchen equipment for the chefs, obviously. Call a top-notch high-end company. You know how MasterChef, you have that top high-end kitchen equipment? You're looking at kitchen equipment like that for the chefs. It looks like top-notch. As well, me and my wife can make the calls for the food, obviously. So what I'll do is I'll have the chef give me and my wife all the ingredients, and then me and my wife are going to call the farms and we're going to order all the food. So once the chefs are flown in, okay, I want you guys to write down all the ingredients, all the ingredients for all the food, and then me and my wife can now call the farms and we can make the calls for the food, obviously. So the food, the kitchen equipment, obviously. the luxury hotel party, the red carpet, the IMAX cameras, the equipment for the cameras. The equipment for the cameras, my wife can make the calls for that too. The set building and all that stuff, my 17 will make the calls for that. The machinery for the clothing for the main actors, obviously, and the machinery for the masks, me and my wife can make the calls for that. And that's it, man. And everything else my 17 takes care of. My 17 are going to be doing all the dirty work. Hence why they're going to be my assistant producers. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, if they're hired, they'll be my co-executive producers. They're going to be making a shitload of business calls. But the other 5 are going to be my assistant producers. They're going to be doing... My seconds will be my co-assistant producers. And the other 3 will be my assistant producers. And they're going to be doing all the dirty work. As me and my wife will barely be doing any business calls. And then after that, all me and my wife will be doing is doing the concept arts the first year. And I'll be working on my script with my 2 script developers. Or if I hire a director, like Mel Gibson or Peter Jackson, I'll be working on my script with Peter Jackson or Mel Gibson, and my 2 script developers will be writing the script and doing the consults, obviously. And if Peter Jackson or Mel Gibson are hired, they're going to be my executive producers. I'm going to give them power. I'm going to have them consult for a lot of the business too as well. Because in my opinion, as a director, it's good to have some producing power too. Considering that way you have some control in some of the stuff, obviously. So I'll have Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson. They produced movies before. I'll have them be my executive producers, and they'll be consulting for business, obviously. So what I'll do is I'll pay them $40 million. They get a $10 million signing bonus for pre-production, which is a nice fucking paycheck, obviously. $10 million, which is a good one. Don't forget, those guys live in New Zealand, I believe. And it's $10 million is a good like 12 million New Zealand dollar. Even more money, obviously. But they get $10 million, which is like I don't know, after your agent, it's like a $5 million check in the bank, which is nice. Their living is taken care of. The hotel stay is taken care of. They'll stay at a nice hotel. Their feeding is taken care of for what? Their feeding is taken care of for the first year. So what I'll do is I'll have Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson work in the office for the first year. They'll be co-writing the script with me, whoever's chosen, if I hire a director. And they'll be doing the concerts with me. At the same time, they'll be consulting for business, helping out my 7 team. I don't pay you $10 for nothing. And then the second year, I can send them home, or I can have them work in the office. I don't know. I can either have them stay in Vancouver and have them just do the directing notes in their hotel, or I can send them home and they can do and they can practice at home. Second year, I'll just send them home. So it just saves me money. So the first year, they'll be doing the concept arts, writing the script, and consulting for business, because one of them are going to be my executive producers if I choose to hire them. They get their $10 million, which is nice. Hence, they're going to work hard for me, because $10 million for writing the script and doing concerts and consulting for business is a nice paycheck, obviously. The second year, I can send them home. Or you can, no. I can just have them in the hotel the second year. I'll have them in the hotel, but they're going to want to spend time with their family, though. So the second year, I'll send them home. They can spend time with their family. All I'm going to tell them, look, man, even though I'm sending you home, I recommend every day you go over all your directing notes. That way you're well prepped for production, obviously. So I'll send you home. You can spend time with your family in New Zealand, whatever it is. And you'll be what? I want you constantly going over all your directing notes every day. That way you're well prepped for production. I'm going to tell Peter Jackson, Mel Gibson that. In the third year, they're going to be in Switzerland. They're going to be consulting while all the crewmen are prepping for production in Switzerland. Peter Jackson and all of them are going to be prepping as a director, going over the directing notes. So Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson, if they're hired, they're going to be going over the directing notes with their assistant director, if they're hired, obviously, because it's a good chance I'm going to direct myself. And they're going to be what? They're also going to be consulting for some of the business stuff during pre-production in the third year, obviously. And in the fourth year's production, they're going to be directing. They got their $30 million, and they're going to be directing Last of Us. And I'll told you, if they end up directing my movie, I'll tell them, look, who is the best assistant director to help you? And I'll hire whoever that assistant director is. Give that director a call, pay that director a nice $500,000 to assist one of those 2 directors, as well as my script developers will be helping out Peter Jackson or Mel Gibson, whoever's hired, if they are to direct my movie, obviously. So they have a lot of help. You have your assistant director helping you, which is good. You also have my 2 script developers who are going to be helping you. I don't pay my 2 script developers for nothing. As well as you also have your first unit director and your second unit director who are also going to be helping you too, obviously. The first unit director and second unit directors, they also help out the directors too. As you have your first unit director, your second unit director, they're all going to be helping Peter Jackson or Mel Gibson, whoever I choose, obviously, whoever's hired. But I told you, there's a 55% chance I'm going to end up directing myself. because I don't want anyone ruining my Oscar Rosanian story. But at the same time, I don't want what? I don't want to be overstressed and have to star as well as direct, which is very, very stressing. Hence why there's a good chance, a high chance, I'm gonna just hire one of those guys to direct my movie, man, because it's fucking stressing. Obviously, right? You might hear some noise upstairs. This is my family are watching some Christian sermon, right? They're Christians. Right, almost done part 2 here. I'll be finishing off Lord of the Rings today, chapter 6, which is the Old Forest, obviously. I'm gonna take a shower, then I'm gonna go to the store, get a pack of smokes, come back and enjoy the show, obviously. Right? So yeah, man. Hence why I really want to take that year off of my wife, because I know once I start the process of Last of Us Angel, you're looking at blood, sweat, and tears, man. You're looking at a lot of work. As making a movie, even though the final product of a movie is amazing, once you see the final product, it's well worth it because it's so cool. You have no idea how much blood, sweat, and tears goes into making a movie, man. The actors who do movies, especially doing a medieval kind of movie, like we're working for 9 months, 9 months is blood, sweat, and tears. Hence why I want to take that year off with my wife, because I know 9 months of filming is blood, sweat, and tears. And hence why you pay those Hollywood actors millions of dollars. Don't pay them shitty money like those actors got in Lord of the Rings. There's nothing worse than working for 9 months for peanuts. No, pay them. There's nothing worse than getting $2,000-$3,000. You have enough to buy a Porsche or a BMW or a Benz, but after you bought your car, you only have like 50 grand for yourself to spend, which is nothing, as Los Angeles is a fucking expensive city to live in, obviously. Whereas you pay them like their millions, they can buy a house if they want to, they can buy a condo, they can buy a nice car. And even after, they can go on a nice vacation and they can buy nice clothes. And even after doing all that, they still have a lot of money left in their bank. And so they got a nice paycheck, obviously. And that's why you pay these actors their millions. Grant them their freedom, obviously. Don't be a dirty businessman. Grant them their freedom. And feed them well with a nice, luxurious buffet. That way they're not stressed out. There's nothing worse than working for 9 months, doing blood, sweat, and tears. You're getting served shittier food like meat, potato, and pasta. No, man. And veggies, no. Serve them a nice extra buffet, that way they all work hard for you. They're not as stressed out. There's nothing better than working all day, you're getting a fat check, at the same time you're getting served nice food. Because there's nothing worse than getting served shitty food for 9 months. No. Serve them good food, that way the actors are not as stressed out, obviously. The actors are going to be very, very stressed out because 9 months of work is a lot of work. That's why you pay them their millions and you feed them well with a nice extra buffet, obviously. So I'm going to tell these actors, look, when you sign this contract, you're going to get your freedom. You're going to be a famous movie star. You're going to be famous. And you're going to be rich. All I ask is that you deliver the top. I'm granting you your wealth. I'm granting you your fame. Obviously, I'm granting you your freedom. All I ask is that you what? I'm going to tell them, look, man, once you're in my movie, you're never going to be the same. You're going to be very, very famous. And you're going to be very, very wealthy. Because I'm paying you your millions. And you're also going to have a successful career in Hollywood. You're going to be very wealthy. All I ask is that you deliver the best performance you can for me on the screen. I'm going to tell these actors that. All I ask is that you deliver the best performance you can for me on the screen. Hence why Sky Source will be the best brand in the entertainment industry. And I told you, Peter Jackson or Mel Gibson, those are my top 2 candidates. If I choose to hire a director, those are the 2 candidates I'm going to choose. I'm gonna have to what? Those are the 2 candidates who are going to compete for the job. If there are, so I'll fly them on my private jet to my office. I'm going to ask them a series of questions. Okay, what do you see Aratat as? When you read my book, when you think of Aratat as a Devil Wolf King, what do you see him as? What do you see him as? Do you see Xanth as a PG movie? Do you see Xanth, or do you see Xanth as a rated R movie? What do you think? You know what I'm saying? What's your idea for the war? When you read my book and you read the ending of the war, what do you see? What are you thinking of? What are you thinking of when I talk about the cursed demon ancestors in the South? What are you thinking of when I think of this when I talk about the South being cursed? What do you think of the North looking as? You know what I'm saying? What do you think of the North? The North is holy. What do you think of the South? Ask them all these questions, and whoever comes up with a better answer, that's the director who I end up hiring, obviously. Say, do you see Xanth as a PG movie? Do you see Xanth as a rated R movie? Do you see Aratat what do you see Aratat when you think of him as a Devil Wolf King? Do you see him as a werewolf? Do you see him as a wolf with 4 legs? Do you see him as a wolf with human appearance? Ask them all these questions, and whoever comes with a better answer, that's the director who will be hired. Because both those directors are going to read my book, obviously, And once they read my book, they're going to be like, oh my God, I would love to direct this movie because you're looking at the best story ever told. Ask them all these questions. Whoever comes up with a better answer, that's the director who I'll end up hiring, obviously. That's if I choose to hire a director. It's not guaranteed I'm going to hire a director. There's a good chance I'm going to direct it myself, obviously. And I'm willing to pay them a nice $40 million. So a $10 million signing bonus for pre-production, for writing the script, doing the concerts, and consulting for business during pre-production. And then they get their nice $30 million to start production when they start directing, obviously, which is a nice paycheck, obviously. And I'm willing to give them a $50,000 royalty check for each of the re-releases. I can easily give those directors more, but the moment you give them more money, they're ripping you off, man. As for re-release, you don't pay someone $1 million for re-release. The moment you do that, they're ripping you off. Pay them a nice $250,000, which is good enough. It's like $100,000 after taxes and your agent. It's a nice paycheck for a fucking re-release, obviously. That's right. And there's a good chance even guys like Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson, even those guys are going to try and get a piece of the royalties. Look, man, you're not getting. You may be my executive producer, you may be my director for my movie, but you're not worth a piece of the royalties. You get paid for what's worth. You're worth a nice $40 million, but you're not worth getting a piece of the royalties. And I'm already paying you $40 million, which is fucking good enough. $40 million after taxes is $24 million in your bank. After your agent, you're walking away with what? A $21 million check in your bank, which is a nice fat check in the bank. Same time I'm giving you a $250,000 royalty check for all the re-releases, which is nice. Same time I gave you, I'm also spoiling you during the 4 years. Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson, if they were hired, they would also get spoiled, thrown on my jet. They get the limo driver taking them for breakfast and lunch and dinner every day at the hotel in Vancouver, as well as they get their luxury buffet during production and pre-production the third year. They get their once-a-month parties the third year too. So Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson, the third year during pre-production, they'll get to party it up once a month, 12 times during the third year, with the crewing, obviously, when they're flown to Switzerland. One of them are flown to Switzerland. And the fourth year, they get to party up at a luxury hotel party, which is nice. You know what I'm saying? They also get spoiled. Well, they get spoiled with a luxury buffet, too. If they were hired, they would get spoiled with a luxurious buffet also, obviously, which is nice, obviously. They would get spoiled, as they will be living the life, obviously. And don't forget, they're also going to be saved too, and they also get their freedom too. So I pay you your $40 million. I pay you your free $40 million, which is nice. Same time, I gave you all these perks. Peter Jackson or Mel Gibson, I would also give them, if they were hired, I would give them all the directors for all my movies. I'll give them their $3,500 gas card too. So Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson, I'll gladly give them a $3,500 gas card, which is nice. Even though they don't need it, because those guys are fucking wealthy people. They're very rich. I'm willing to give them a nice $3,400 gas card, which is a year's worth of gas. I'm willing to give Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson also a $3,500 gas card. And they also get their $2,000 gift card. Whoever's hired, if I hire a director, they also get the $2,000 gift card, which is nice. Everyone who works for my company gets their $2,000 gift card, except for me and my wife, because me and my wife don't need it. The Hollywood actors don't need it either, because most of them have money, but it's to give them, as a nice thank you, give them a nice $2,000 gift card, which is nice, obviously. So Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson, they would also get, whoever's hired, they would also get their $2,000 gift card, which is fucking nice, obviously. Right. Hence why I don't want, they would also get their $2,000 gift card, Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson, if they're hired. And if they're chosen, if one of those, something tells me Mel Gibson's the right man for the job, man. But something also tells me Peter Jackson's the right man for the job. Because Peter Jackson did Lord of the Rings. And Lord of the Rings is the best movie trilogy ever made. Passion of Christ is also one of the best Christian movies ever made. It's an amazing movie, man. Because Mel Gibson, you have the horror. Mel Gibson, he's good for the movie because you have the horror. You have the horror side of you. Passion of Christ is a horror movie. You have the horror, the demons. You also get that nice vibe with Jesus. That's why he's very good for Last of Zanus. But Peter Jackson, you have the fantasy world filled of Lord of the Rings. Hence, they're both really good candidates, obviously. But Peter Jackson, you have less of the horror, more of the fantasy world feel. Because Lord of the Rings isn't a horror movie, obviously. You have the fantasy world of Middle Earth. But Mel Gibson, you have the horror aspect of Passion of the Christ. Hence why they're both really good. Hence why those guys, I'm going to have them compete for the job, man. I'm going to ask them a series of questions. Whoever comes up with a better answer, me and my wife, bet. This is all going to be in the doc, by the way. If I end up hiring them, This will all be in the documentary. You're gonna see Peter Jackson. If I end up choosing to hire a director, you're gonna see Mel Gibson and Peter Jackson competing for the job, man. This will be crazy, obviously. And whoever has the best answer, that will be the director I'll be hiring. But something tells me Mel Gibson is the guy I'm gonna end up hiring, man. If I end up choosing to hire a director, something tells me I'm gonna end up choosing Mel Gibson. Because Passion of Christ was an amazing movie, obviously. And I'm willing to pay them a nice $40 million for the movie, obviously, and they get their $250,000 recurring royalty check for every time I release the movies, which is nice. Obviously, as I'm not paying them $1 million as they're not worth it. I can easily pay the actors $1 million for releases, but the moment you do that, you're being way too generous. As in Hollywood, they don't even get royalty checks for the DVD or Blu-ray sales. No, man. Most actors get a one-time flat fee in Hollywood. Some of them might bargain for a piece of royalties, but it's very rare. Piece of royalties for 4K Blu-ray sales and DVD sales, that's very rare. In Hollywood, the actors get a one-time flat fee. It's me giving you some money is me being fucking generous. That's $250,000 is a nice paycheck for a fucking release. As you don't want to let these guys rip you off, obviously. So even though me and my wife are gonna make hundreds of millions off the re-release, I'm so nice enough to pay you a $250,000 royalty check for the release, which is nice. A reoccurring check every time I re-release the movies, you get $250,000 deposit into your bank, which is nice for a re-release, man. For just a re-release, I get a $200,000 check in my bank. It's a nice paycheck, obviously. As that's the only back end deal these actors are getting, is none of them are getting a piece of Meanwhile's royalties. You're not getting a piece of royalties for the posters, and you're not getting a piece of royalties for the movie, obviously. I could give them a $250,000 royalty check for the posters, but I mean, because they're featured on it. Considering you and your wife are gonna make millions, or you could give them a $250,000 check for the posters if I want to. But no, man, I'm already paying them their millions and give them $2,000 for the re-release. That's good enough. I'm not gonna give you any more money. And Peter Jackson will get, if they're hired, they're going to be saved. If one of them are hired, they're going to be saved. And they're going to get to experience the international glorious fame with Ivan and Vijay. They're going to be saved. They're going to be bombarded with a bunch of fans. Oh my God, you're directing Last of Us. Oh my God, I can't wait. You directed Passion of Christ. You directed Lord of the Rings. I can't wait for you to direct this movie. You know what I'm saying? Is this movie going to be scary? You're going to see that trending. So Peter Jackson will get hired. You're going to see that trending with them and the fans. Crazy fans and the crazy fans in Vancouver, Switzerland, just something crazy. And that's why even those directors are gonna beg their fucking asses off. Check my account here.